What's up, guys? It's Ben from 2020 Election Predictions, and I think I have a really exciting video for you today. Real Clear Politics, which is a really cool website, I would encourage you to go visit it. They just released their first electoral map for the 2020 election, and this is a map that I looked at a lot during the 2016 election, and it's pretty interesting because they kind of do what I've been doing before and tell you what are the likely and leans and solid states, and also they give a bunch of toss-ups. And before I dive into that, I just wanted to announce that on May 15th, if I hit 250 subscribers, that I will be doing a giveaway to 3 of my subscribers. I'm really trying to grow my channel right now, so if you want to be eligible for that, please subscribe right here if you haven't already. And I look forward to doing that. Okay, so getting started, right now what RealClearPolitics has, and it's April 28th today, they have Biden at 183 electoral votes and Trump at 125. And this is the most conservative electoral map I've ever seen. I mean, there's different websites. There's like Cook's Political Report. I think Princeton does one. On 27 to win, they have different maps that different groups come out with, but this is the most conservative map I've seen. And I don't mean that in the sense like, oh, they really favor Trump because they're very conservative. I mean, it's conservative in that there's so many toss-up states, and they really are not. They aren't taking sides on states that they think potentially could go either way. And I really think this is because the pundits got the 2016 election so wrong, and they don't want the headlines after the 2020 election that they messed up again. So they're just trying to be very conservative. And I expect with more polling coming out that they'll probably try to fill in some of these toss-up states. But let me tell you why this map is a little bit ridiculous. So first, I'm going to start with some of the Republican states. I mean, the first thing that jumps out at me is Missouri, Indiana, and South Carolina. None of these are just lean Trump states. These are states that Trump is for sure going to win. I mean, I would put all the money in the world on these states. I'm just reading off. So Trump won Indiana by 19 points. And I guess why they're putting this as a lean state is because Obama did win this state in 2008. It was a huge surprise to everyone. I mean, that was a landslide victory for Obama, and he picked up the state. But with Mike Pence still as the VP, unless something crazy happens where Trump replaces um, Mike Pence as his vice president, or maybe the coronavirus just has an insane outbreak in Indiana, maybe. But this is a solid Republican state, I think. And same with Missouri. I mean, Missouri did have a Democratic senator with McCaskill, I believe. But this is another state Trump won by 19 points. In South Carolina, I know there's been some polls there saying that Lindsey Graham is polling within the margin of error for reelection in 2020. Trump won the state by 15 points. It's part of the solid South Bible Belt. This is going to be a solid Republican state as well. And also, like Utah, this was a little weird in the 2016 election because the independent candidate, conservative guy, was running in Trump's lane, picked up like 20% of the vote, but this is solid Republican as well. And then going into some of the toss-up states, I believe Ohio and Iowa should be lean Trump states. I mean, Trump won Ohio by 8 points, and he won Iowa by 10 points, just because of his appeal to kind of the white working class, flyover states, forgotten America. While I do expect Joe Biden to eat into these margins in 2020, maybe Trump only win Ohio by 5 points and Iowa by 5 points. And I lump these two states together because they're pretty similar in terms of demographics, but these are going to be lean Trump states. I mean, I would put all the money down that Trump's going to win both these states again as well. And then also kind of going down to the South for Republican states, Georgia and Texas, I would also include these in lean Trump states. Trump only won Georgia by like 5 or 6 points, but I still think that he will win Georgia probably by like 3 to 4 points. So I would include that in the lean Trump column as well. I know that the 2018 governor race was very close. Brian Kemp, like very narrowly, won that race, but that was a Democratic wave year, and also Brian Kemp was an even more controversial candidate than Trump was. And I think that his handling of the coronavirus has made a lot of Georgians mad. So I could actually see Brian Kemp losing re-election here, but Trump is going to win this state in 2020. In Texas, Trump won the state by 9 points in 2016, and he's going to win it in 2020. It's going to be closer than people think. I think probably around 3 to 5 points this go around, just because Joe Biden is probably more attractive to the swing voters than Hillary Clinton was. And also, just Texas is changing. I mean, the demographics are changing. A lot of people are moving from California to Texas. There's a lot of immigration coming in from Mexico. And I mean, one example of like how it's going to get so close is the 2018 midterms election when Ted Cruz only won the state by 1.5 points. And Texas has never really been thought of as a swing state. So moving into the Democratic states, I mean, I think it's silly to have Connecticut here as a like only a lean Biden state. I mean, come on, like this is a solid Democratic state. Same with Rhode Island, same with Washington and Oregon, frankly, and same with Illinois. These are states that Hillary Clinton won by like 15 plus points in 2016, and I mean, there's no movement in the polls. The only state where I could see maybe Donald Trump eating into his margin a little bit is in New Jersey. If you remember, there's a Democratic congressman who was elected in 2018. He switched his party affiliation to Republican because some people in the media say that he wouldn't be reelected if he were a Democrat, and that's easier now for him to kind of like run in the Trump lane, which I definitely think there is some truth to that. New Jersey is a little different, but still, I mean, Hillary Clinton won the state, but I think like by 15 points about. So maybe New Jersey would be like likely, but I mean, come on. And then moving into the states that I think are likely for Biden, the only one I would put in here is like New Mexico. New Mexico is not a swing state. Um, Hillary Clinton won the state by 8 points, and I know Gary Johnson was a little bit of a spoiler here. Like if all of Gary Johnson's votes went to Trump, he would have narrowly won it in 2016. But still, Trump lost the state by 8 points, and maybe he'll only lose by 6 or 7 points, or maybe 5 or 6 points in 2020 because Joe Biden does not do as well with Latinos as some of the other Democratic candidates did in the primaries. But still, this is not going to be a competitive state, although Trump has held a few rallies here. And then next up, going to Nevada. Nevada is a state that's always polled well for the Republicans, but they never get the results that they want. In 2016, I think the polls actually had Trump winning, which is surprising because in most states they had Hillary Clinton winning. Like in the swing states, like in Wisconsin, Michigan, and Pennsylvania, they had him winning. Or they had her winning in the polls, but Donald Trump actually won them. Nevada has always kind of been the outlier. It's a very hard state to poll. And in 2018, the incumbent Republican senator just got walloped. Oh gosh. Okay. Anyway, I am blocking ads. Sorry. Yes, but Nevada is going to be a lean Biden state. I expect Biden to win the state probably by around 5 points. Hillary Clinton won the state by 3 points. Same with Colorado. This was another 3-point victory for Hillary Clinton. Cory Gardner is going to get beat in Colorado. He might even lose worse than Trump. But like Nevada and Colorado are states that are trending blue, and it's going to be hard for Trump to win Colorado, I think. So I would put this in the lean Biden category. And same with Virginia. Trump did better in Virginia than a lot of the pundits thought. He only lost by 3 points. But because DC is expanding so much, the Northern Virginia area is becoming a lot more Democratic, especially as uh, voters who were formerly Republican who live in the suburbs. The suburbs of DC are expanding, and they're pretty solidly voting for Democrats. Potentially, there'd be some backlash to Ralph Northam. I mean, remember his blackface scandal and his comments on late-term abortion. And even now with the coronavirus, there's been a lot of protests. And the Virginia legislature has tried to pass some gun laws that are pretty restrictive. There's been some protests there because of that. But I still think Biden will win Virginia. And maybe not having Tim Kaine on the ticket, I think he helped Hillary Clinton in Virginia. So Virginia is a state where I could be inclined to put it in the toss-up state, but I think just because it's trending so much in the Democratic direction, I think this is a state Biden will win by probably 3 points again. All right, so moving on, I kind of told you what my map is going to be like. This is kind of it all filled in, and I'm going to touch on some of the swing states. So, like, obviously, Michigan, Wisconsin, Pennsylvania, I think this will be swing states again. Florida, Trump only won the state by like 1 point. Florida is always a swing state. I don't think anyone's going to blame me for that. North Carolina, I've seen some people put this in the lean Republican. I could see that, but Biden has been polling pretty well in North Carolina, and especially with the incumbent Republican Senator Tom Tillis not being very popular. And North Carolina even has a Democratic governor, Roy Cooper, who won in 2016 when Donald Trump won as well. So, and Roy Cooper is going to be on the ballot again. So I could see Joe Biden potentially winning the state. Although I think the state tilts Republican, there isn't an option for tilt. I think it's still going to be a swing state. Arizona, I've talked about the state a lot. I think it's going to be the closest state in the 2020 election. Trump won the state by 3 points in 2016, but I mean, the Republicans got walloped in the 2018 election. And Martha McSally will be on the ballot again for senator, and I expect that she's going to lose. But I think this Arizona state that could go 50-50. Some people might blame me for putting Minnesota as a swing state. But Minnesota is a state that Donald Trump didn't campaign in at all and only lost by 1.5 points. The Republicans are going to make a huge play for Minnesota in 2020. And I really think Donald Trump could win this state. I think Joe Biden maybe holds the slightest bit of an advantage right now. But Minnesota is a state that's not very populated. It's going to be hard to pull. I really think Donald Trump could win it again. And the only thing that I might change, if Joe Biden picks Amy Klobuchar as vice presidential candidate, I would put this in the lean Democratic column. And if Joe Biden chooses the Democratic governor of Michigan, Gretchen, I would maybe put this in the lean Democratic column. And in terms of New Hampshire, I mean, New Hampshire was the closest state in 2016. I stand by putting it in the swing state column. And Maine, and with Maine and Minnesota, you might think I'm splitting hairs, and I kind of am. Maine could be a swing state too. I think Trump only lost Maine by 2 or 3 points. But I think as it stands now, Biden holds a small advantage. But I could very easily move this to a swing state. I mean, I think that Maine and Virginia are two states. Maine, Virginia, and even Georgia, I think could go in the swing state column. And so I feel pretty confident about this map. Please comment below if you think that I'm doing anything wrong here. I feel a lot more confident in this map than the maps where I do no toss-ups and I fill in the states as either leaning or tilting Republican or Democrat. But as you can see, I mean, it's a pretty wide open race. There's 115 electoral votes in these swing states. And I mean, it's pretty even in terms of the electoral vote count. And of course, you need 270 electoral votes to win. And I'll do a video about this later, but if there's a 269 tie, which I actually think is fairly likely, Trump will hold an advantage. And that's there's some rules in the Constitution that not everyone knows about, but I'll go over that in a later video. And just comparing my map and even this map, which is super conservative, this was the map that they did before the 2016 election. And obviously, you can see some kind of glaring errors. Wisconsin went for Trump. But other than that, they were pretty conservative again. Obviously, Texas, they had going for Donald Trump and not as a swing state. But other than that, I mean, RealClearPolitics did okay. I mean, Minnesota definitely should have been a swing state if they knew it was going to be only a 1.5 margin of victory for Hillary Clinton, and obviously Ohio. I mean, this hindsight is 2020. But one thing that I wanted to show you is just to show how ridiculous that some of these projections were. This was on October 30th, 2016. They had Wisconsin, Michigan, and Pennsylvania and New Hampshire going for Hillary Clinton. And even here, they had Texas as a swing state. So, I mean, this is pretty ridiculous. Honestly, I think people are going to have a better sense. They aren't going to underestimate Trump as much. And I feel very confident about this map. So I'm going to try to put this map as my thumbnail. And this is really my final projections right now. And if you don't like this map, then I'm sorry, I'm going to have to heavily disagree with you because I really think this is where the race is right now. So thank you for watching. I'll have a video up in the next 2 days. And I'd love to hear what you think about this map. And please subscribe if you like this video, and I'll have more like it in the future.